Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chelsea and you're watching Chelsea Sang. Today we are doing a volume 1 review of Crazy Food Truck. Okay, so I just kind of picked this up at random, I think from a Books A Million, because I was looking for stuff to try out, and it seemed kind of interesting, so I thought I'd give it a try. So the story and art is by Rokuro Ogaki, and let's jump straight into it. So for the synopsis, we meet a man in a food truck driving along in a very deserted land, and literally we just kind of see him thinking about what food he's making, thinking about what he's gonna make for his customers, actually making a little bit of food, you know, kind of foraging, and right away we kind of noticed that like this is an interesting, you know, okay, just landscape overall. And then he runs into somebody lying in the middle of the road, gets in a bit of an accident trying to avoid them, and discovers this girl in a bed bag, and decides to let her in. So she comes in, she eats a lot of food, and then they just continue traveling together. Later down we find out that she's actually being chased and the military is after her. Our good man, who we discover his name is Gordon and her name is Arisa. Gordon decides to help Arisa out and help her evade the people who are after her, and then we just continue to see their relationship. They continue to forage for food, Gordon continues to cook for her, and then they come upon a village where I think it's called Blue Lake, where they meet a bunch of people who are basically being forced to work for these people who came and took over their town, and Arisa and Gordon help them out with and then they get some beer in return, and then we see them continue on their journey. And towards the end of volume 1, the military guy, who we find out is a former, I guess, who used to work under Gordon when he was in the military, surprise surprise, former General Gordon, he kind of finds them, tracks them down, stakes out the entire town, and we end with them beating them and escaping. So by the end of volume 1, there aren't many things that we know, and it just seems like a pretty easy relationship that just kind of formed like right away without much explanation. And just like Gordon in this book, we're just gonna go with it. All right, so right off the bat we can see that Arisa is just like really strong, loves to eat, and that's kind of all we know about her as of right now. It seems like she does have some kind of past, much like Gordon, and she is also one of those like grown baby women. You know that trope where it's like brand new person kind of discovers the world, but they're still like, they have like a grown body but they're still a child. There are a few things in here as to like why she is continuously naked. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure we'll find out eventually. Hopefully it'll become something more than just some kind of fan service thing, but it's not too in your face, I guess, so we're just gonna let that go for now, and we'll see what happens. Gordon, he kind of reminds me a little bit of what's the guy's name from Invincible? The father? I don't know if it's the mustache, but from certain angles he kind of gives me that vibe. Also, the truck is pretty cool, okay? I think as we go on, like the truck itself, the actual food truck, is its own character, which is also going to be interesting. In terms of the setting, it seems like we are somewhere in the future, and something has happened to the world. It seems like water is pretty much non-existent. The ocean is now gone, so most of the things are covered in sand, but the animals that live in the ocean are still there. So that's also something that I feel is gonna like come out a little bit more a little bit later. So I find that a little bit interesting. In terms of things that it reminds me of, it kind of gives me a little bit of Trigun, the anime, specifically. It kind of just has that kind of post-apocalyptic cowboy vibe to it. And then it also reminds me a little bit of Drifting Dragons, the way how the food is prepared. So what's one of the things that I do like about it too is that the things that Gordon makes is specifically shown. So we're seeing recipes and food very nicely presented in images and stuff, which is pretty cool. But another thing that is also interesting that also reminds me of Drifting Dragons is the animals some are like, there seems to be a mixture of like animals that we know and then some kind of like mixture of other animals that are kind of combinations of things or some evolved form of their species kind of just roaming around. And I think as we go more into the story, we're going to figure out more about what these animals are, if they're edible or not, because the author just make it a point to really give us a lot of information when Gordon is foraging for food. So I am interested to see where their relationship goes, find out why the military is after them, and who else they're gonna rescue, because they seem to be some like really super tag team thing that just kind of came out of nowhere. So as we get to know them both, it's certainly gonna add to the story, I feel. So I'm curious to see where it goes, and I will definitely be looking out for volume 2 of Crazy Food Truck. Yeah, I don't really want to pass any judgments yet as to how Arisa and Gordon's relationship is gonna kind of continue to be portrayed. Hopefully it's nothing that kind of turns me off eventually, but we'll see. There's potential for that, but there's also potential to be like very sweet, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, we got 2 people on the run who we got lots of cooking and a badass truck and some violence too. What more can you ask for? Alright, so yeah, that has been my review of Crazy Food Truck Volume 1. Let me know if you have checked this out, if you like it, what you think down below, and I will see you in the next video.